I'm Michael.
Today we're checking out.
Zhanguo, the First Empire, which is basically the. It's like to me, it's like Zhanguo plus. I have not played the original Zhanguo, but Steph has.
Yeah,
And for those
I loved it, and I love it. I still have it.
the original came from What's Your Game, and this is like Steph says, she has the original and she has played it. Um, and obviously, the question always is when we play games that have second or third editions, we're like, is this considered a new game? Well, Criterion one, is it a new entry in BGG?
It is.
And two, does it offer enough different things?
It does.
So there you have it.
I do qualify this as a new to me game because
Yes.
it does change and
It's
add
so
so much stuff.
it adds a lot because we go over something, you say that's not in the original, that's not in the original, that's not in the original. So
They streamlined some things from the original. They added a bunch of other things, so it's kind of like it has an expansion in it almost, like built in.
I think that's exactly right. And fortunately, it's the stuff it's printed directly on the board now. So
That's right.
I don't think they could have added this to the original and done it the right way because of where they have everything placed.
Yeah.
Anyway, this game is from Sorry, We Are French, who graciously provided this game to us, but not in exchange for this video. We're just bringing you this video because we like to show you all the games.
Yeah.
You can join in on that anytime you can say all the games.
I do all the time.
Yeah. But at the same time, anyway, it plays 1 to 4 players. Box playtime is 60 to 120 minutes. So let's take a look. We usually talk about black and beige or brown and beige games. This is a beige and blue game.
It's very beige.
So it's very beige. Ta-da! So, uh, for those of you who don't know, Zhanguo means warring kingdoms. And so this was during the time of all of the warring kingdoms around 221 BC. Um, this game is played out over 5 rounds. A little bit of talk about what is different in this game for those of you who are familiar with the game. The mausoleum tiles, I believe you said there were 6 before.
They were randomly selected each game, and it worked a little bit differently.
Right.
Yeah.
And now we've got row and column scoring for these, which you couldn't have before because you didn't have a 3 by 3 grid of them. I believe the walls that are up at the top, I believe the wall sections were specific to each region.
Yeah, they were like in between regions, so you're building a wall to gain the benefit at the end of the game. So.
And this boat area did not exist at all.
Yeah, this is a whole new thing.
So, but otherwise, a lot of the rest of it is the same, or no?
Yeah, like the way that you score every round at the end, you're trying to collect these tokens that are, first come, first serve. So you want to collect as many as you can to have majorities of those tokens. The way the workers are played on your board are very similar. The way in the original is a lot more difficult because there was an up and down section on these, so it's a little bit more to manage on here. So they streamlined that, but they did give these people powers. Before they didn't really have powers. They represented things, but they didn't like you didn't have to have specific things. So
I like
it's changed a little bit.
It seems more elegant now.
Yes, it also challenging to have like this is where you can put this and this is where you can put this.
It's like abilities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had abilities in the original. I don't really remember, but
It's been a while.
They definitely obviously didn't have these purple cards, which have been added with Boat Track.
So lots of cool things. So the answer to if you've got the first edition, should you buy this? It's highly likely because it
does
it changes a lot.
It changes a lot. So I think that you will still like it.
And for you, I think you would probably say you like it more or less than.
It's probably the same.
About the same.
It's
interesting.
Though I will probably always choose this one just because it has the
then there's the answer. Yeah.
But that being said, I still love the other one. I like. There's reasons to like both.
Sounds great. Now, let me talk a little bit about setup on this. You're going to sort these mausoleum tiles. Each of these mausoleum tiles has a different symbol on the back of them, like this mountain. That always goes in this spot. Some of them have the five kingdom names on here. Those will only go where there are the five kingdom names. It's going to be variable, but it's always going to be in these positions. And then the three wall sections, they will all have the wall things on the back of those tiles. Now, for those of you who uh, will have played the game a bunch, you can also randomize these 9 things with there are little square tiles that you can use to randomize this 9 by 9 grid, which will make it even more playable over time after you get tired of the same 9 things being in this same configuration. So, um, there are 7 wall tiles. You're going to put 6 of them out. Um, and in the emperor tiles will go between 2 sections of wall. These walls are not really built in any particular province anymore. These are just all at the top. You basically got the purple section, the teal section, and the orange section of wall. Um, this section threw me a little bit. It's the rules say in a 4 player game, which is what we played with the other night, shuffle the emperor tiles and then place them according to their backside on the corresponding wall sections, 1 tile per section. We're like, there's only 3 sections. No, that's not what they mean. This is this is 2 wall sections, and this is the corresponding place for these 2 wall sections. So 2 emperor tiles, and 2 emperor tiles. You'll notice that there is a symbol on the back of each of these, and that lets you know where you're supposed to put these. For a 3 player game, you're going to take out one, and on a 2 player game, you're going to take out 2 of them. So one of these 3 sections is going to have an extra tile that is not available until we've gotten underneath this one. I'm not sure if we're supposed to know what's under this, but I'm not looking at it until it's revealed. So, um, there are now, this is a 1 and 2 player side of the board. Whenever you're playing with more players, the other side of the board has more spots for palaces and governor tiles, and make sure to put those out according to the rules. 2 of these are blank that you are going to put in a 2 or 4 player game. 3 player games do not use the governor tiles, the blank governor tiles. The other side of the board has spot for 2 of these, so they'll basically be 2 per region like this on the other side of the board. And so we will place them like so on this side of the board, 1 per region. Um, we also have a whole bunch of unification cards. There are 3 different types. There are writing cards, there are currency cards, and there are laws cards. So we have laws and currency and writing. Notice at the bottom, each of them has a particular number range: 1 to 40, 41 to 80, and 81 to 120. Those will be important for some of the things that we do. Put these back here. Uh, so, Um, each player will choose a color. And then you'll put all of your governors and your palaces and walls and terracotta soldiers on your board, along with your alchemists, architects, and generals on their spaces. Each player will have the same amount of everything. For example, we've each got 4 alchemists and 4 architects and 4 generals. Uh, we've each got 6 palaces and 6 walls. Once these run out, they are out. The only component that is not meant to be limited are these workers. Everything else is limited. So,
Yeah, in the original, you only got 5. You got 5 of each of these instead of 4.
our ships will go up here at the top. We both start off at 0 on the score track. Looks like you are player one. I am player two. So you got the random turn order here. Um, and at the start of the game, you're going to deal two starting tiles to each player, and then we are each going to choose one. Steph, you've already chosen yours.
Yep.
I'm going to take this one. It's a little bit more dangerous for me, but hey, I'm going to try it out anyway. So, you'll notice you've also got 5 unrest cubes, one for each of your provinces. My starting tile says I am going to get a general in Chu, and I'm going to take +1 unrest, which is not great for me. And I get a terracotta soldier on the board in this spot here, and I get a ship movement. Steph, what did you take?
I just took these two guys and shoot.
Oh, you know what? My other one
Was similar.
was these two was the similar two guys in Chew, not the exact same,
Right.
but really similar. So, um, every player has the same 5 alchemist cards, I believe. Is that true, Steph?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
They all look rather similar. So, as I mentioned before, this is going to take 5 rounds. Each round is divided into 3 phases. The first phase is really easy. Draw cards. Players are going to draw 2 cards from each of the 3 decks, the currency, writing, and laws decks. Phase 2 is when we play these cards. We're going to play our turns by playing 1 card from our hand. And then phase 3, we are going to get unification rewards. Whoever contributes the most in each of the 3 aspects of writing, currency, and laws will get some sort of bonus. For those of you who play the game over and over and over again, this can become variable where it's not always the top line that gets, it's not always the writing line on top. It might be the laws line on top, or on the backside of this, it might be the currency line on top. And so the rewards are sort of changed up a little bit as well. So I also like that. Anything that increases variability increases replayability. Love that. So, Stacy says this has the look and feel of a board and dice game. I 100% agree.
I just said in the chat that you know what, since What's Your Game kind of disappeared, Board and Dice has kind of filled that slot.
And this is also a What's Your Game
but this isn't a Board and Dice game. But
exactly.
I understand what you're saying, but yeah, Board and Dice has a similar feel.
Yeah.
But Sorry We Are French is also there. I'm glad that they picked it up.
Absolutely. So, now we've each drawn our cards. Each card is going to have an ability that's related to the 6 court actions. What are those court actions? Behold, there are 6 court actions where you are, want to make sure I get all of these correct. Recruit an official, search for the elixir of long life, which uses the boats, um, install 1 governor, hire 2 workers, build a palace, and build a wall section. So those are the 6 palace the court actions that you can take. Notice that there is a spot for a card here, and that is going to matter here in just a second. So, when we are playing our cards, when it's your turn, you can either do the unification action and put your card into one of the 5 regions on your player board, or you can perform one of those 6 court actions. So let's talk a little bit about both of those. Let's say I want to do the unification action. I'm going to take 1 card from my hand, for example, this one here, and that is going to key on these top 2 spots up here. You're going to take this card, you're going to tuck it face up underneath the top edge of the board. Let's say I do this under Chew. All right. What I'm going to get, this is my first card. There's a few rules that matter when you tuck a card. If it is your first card, you're going to get 1 unification token of that type. So I'm going to get 1 writing unification token. In a 2-player game, there's only 9 of them. In a 3-player game, 11. A 4-player game, maxed out at the maximum of 13. So I'm going to get one of those unification tokens. If this were the second card I placed, I would get two unification tokens. And if it is the third, I will get three. It doesn't mean I have to have three writing cards there. It has to be the third card I have placed. So I might have two currency ones, the black ones, and one of the white ones. I'm going to get three white tokens. So, um, whenever you perform that unification action, if it's the first one, it's free. It doesn't cost you any unrest. If you put the second one, it's going to go up by one, your unrest. And if you put the second one, it's going to go up by two.
The third one.
Yes, a third one, you're going to go up by two. So it's zero plus zero unrest plus one unrest plus two unrest.
It shows you right on your player board in case you forget.
Ta-da! Right here. Now, if you're at two and you want to place your third card, that would have put your unrest at four. You can't do it. Not possible. Place your card somewhere else. Now, what does this do? This means that whenever I take this action on a future turn, which is find the elixir, this is going to happen. This is the trigger. This is what happens. So, anytime I do this action in the future, I'm going to get this advisor in this province. So, if I've placed this here, and then I take a boat action the next turn, then I'm going to get one of my architects in Chu. All of these trigger things can happen in the order that you want them to happen. So that is unification action. So what is court action? Let's say I took this card and I didn't want to put it in unification actions. I put it in the court action. The top part does not matter. This just means I'm going to take one of the six court actions. So first, perform the court action that you want to take, and then you get to do the abilities on your cards. So well, you might get to do the abilities on your cards. So, um, that is going to be based on the card that you have placed down on top of the previous card. Notice the previous card here was nothing. It is just an X. As the first player to place here, um, there's no limitation for me. I can do any of the court actions and do everything on my cards. However, let's say Steph wants to take a court action um, after I do. Let's say that I use this court action to I can do any of these things. Let's say I just do get an official, and I'm gonna drop this guy, this architect in Jiao. Good. That was all I do because I don't have any actions to activate. Remember those triggers that I mentioned earlier. Well, let's say Steph comes up and she wants to play a card. She has this card and it is a 103. Now, if the card she placed is over 10, then she can activate her triggers, but only if she's taken these court actions. If she's done these court actions, this is only if the card number was less than the previous card.
Hard to get less than 10.
It's hard to get less than 10, especially when
Possible, but
especially with this card because this only has 81 to 120.
yeah, well.
So, if Steph had done the two worker one, now she could do any of these.
Yep.
At the moment, it doesn't matter because she has no triggers. But let's say she had some triggers, she would not be able to activate these three court action triggers. She would be able to activate, no, sorry, opposite. She would not be able to do these three court action triggers. She would be able to do these three. Then on my turn, if I wanted to do these three, I'd better play something bigger than 103. If I wanted to do one of these, I'd probably be fine because most of my cards is going to be less than 103. Now, let's say you don't do any of those triggers. You can always take the default action of move one official, one province. So I could go from Jiao to Wei. I could go from Jiao to Qi.
Yeah, you don't need your general here anymore. You move.
I can go from Chu to Wei. You cannot go from Chu to Yan. It does not wrap. This
That
does.
is a handy action to do.
Yes. So, um, Do, 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 do. Making sure I haven't forgotten anything. So, recruit an official is easy. You're just going to get one of these officials. You're going to put it wherever you want in the region of your choice. There's no limit to the number of officials that you can have in a region. I could have all four generals in Chu if I want. I'm not sure why I would
Not,
want that,
not
but
really.
right. If you want a fifth general, you can't have it. You're limited to four. Why do you need some of these? The alchemist will help you when you are searching for the elixir. The general will allow you to hire workers using the hire two workers ability, and the architects are necessary to build palace sections. So, let's talk a little bit about the other ones. Searching for the elixir, move ship 3 spaces. That's pretty easy. Move your ship 3 spaces. There are little bitty dots. It might be hard to see from where you are, but I'd go 1, 2, 3. Oh, look, I've got an ability here. I can either place a terracotta worker up in this bonus area, or I can tuck one of these alchemist cards underneath a spot on my board. However, I must have an alchemist in that region to tuck a card in that region. If
This
I
is a whole new thing.
if I do not have an alchemist in that region or in any region, I cannot tuck a card, a purple card.
You could always put that guy
But I could always put a terracotta worker, and that's why they have it there.
though. Yep.
Now, there are some other spots that says 1 point. It's a 1x for alchemy cards. This means at the end of the game, I'm going to get 1 point for every one of the purple cards in my tableau. A maximum of 3 cards times 5 regions. You're only going to have 15 cards. So it's not like you're going to get a bunch of points, but that one-time bonus can get all the way to 4 times when you get to this last area. That's pretty much all of the things that there are, except for the Master Alchemist spot. Um, and that is.
I'm gonna have to.
You did not put those out, did you?
I forgot.
So this says that you can take one of the Master Alchemists and tuck it into one of your spots. Oh, by the way, the card you tuck, the Alchemist card that you took, does not cause any unrest. Does that? I believe that is correct. Is that not, Steph?
Right, right,
Do you
right.
remember
No
that?
unrest, but you also don't get any tokens with it either.
Correct. Yeah, because they don't match these colors,
I think
so
it
you're
was
not going to get unification
one,
token. I will double check here. Master Alchemist, yes, a number equal to the number of players. So
okay.
2 of them would be just fine. I'm going to place those right here. So whenever the first player uh, gets to here, you'll have your choice of one of these two. So Steph will not be shut out. She will at least get one of these when her boat catches up. I didn't really go boats.
No.
For James and I had our boats back here for the longest time. Install one governor. You must install one governor in a region. Declare the place where you want to install the governor, and then you must remove one official of each type. So currently, I can only put a governor in Chi because I have one official of each type. It can't just be any 3 officials. Has to be one of each. So take your governor and place him in the region. Uh, Here is Chi. I've got 3 different bonuses that I can take. Move 2 workers, put a terracotta worker down, get an official. Let's say I want to get an official so I can get, maybe I want a governor in Jiao. So I can put an official there. So um, the other thing that happens is your unrest in that region is reset all the way down to 0. That's fantastic. So especially if I've got things I want to trigger in Chi that keys off of governor activations. Because if your unrest is at 3, notice this little not sign. This not says you cannot activate these cards while the unrest is at 3. Unrest at 3, very bad. So if all your governors are out, you cannot even perform the action. And that's true of most of the actions on this board, is that if you can't do the action, you're not allowed to do the action. Does that make sense? If you are If you are incapable of doing the action, you can't do the action. Like if your boat has gotten all the way in, you cannot take the elixir action anymore. Even if you want to for all the triggers, nope, you can't do it. So, hire two workers, that's pretty easy. Take two of these workers, put them into a province where you have a general. Remember, you need a general for two workers, and increase the unrest by one. You'll notice the graphic for that is right here on the spot. If your unrest is already at three, nope, you're not able to do it. So, build a palace. You have to have an architect. Like I have an architect in Zhao, I can put one of my palaces in the Zhao region. So, notice that there is only one spot for palace bonuses right here. Um, I have to remove from my board two workers from this region and one worker from a different region of my choice. So two from Jiao, one from Chu. Boom, I can put my palace on Jiao and take the corresponding bonus. Um, I would take that palace tile. I also get a large unification token of any type. Notice that these are worth two unification tokens each. If there are none left, you just don't get one. If there are no palace tiles left, you just don't get one. You're going to get 6 points plus however many victory points this palace tile is worth. This means I'm going to get 3 points for every currency card that's tucked into this region at Jal. So early on in the game, I might look at that and go, I should probably start putting currency cards in Jal. Hey, I should put law cards in Wei. I should put currency cards in Chu. I should put alchemist cards in Chi. Um, this one is the only different one. That is to get 2 points for any color card you have tucked, but you have to take an unrest to do it. So that is building a palace. Now, it is important to note that if all of these governor bonuses are taken up and all of these palace tiles are taken up, you can still put palaces and governors in. You're just not going to get any bonuses for it. This spot is for an unlimited amount of governors. This spot is for an unlimited amount of palaces. Just throw it on the board and get your, for the palaces, get your 6 points. For the governors, drop to 0 unrest. So, governors are also going to be important for majority scoring at the end of the game. Finally, building a wall uh, court action. Um, there are 3 wall sites identified by symbols. As I mentioned earlier, they are not related to any region, unlike the original version of this game. So, when you take this action, you can build one wall in any section. Notice underneath there are a number of lines that corresponds to the number of workers you need to remove in order to place your wall section right there. So if I wanted to, uh, if I want to claim this area, I need to remove one worker. And then at the end of the game, I'm going to qualify for this end game bonus. Currently, that means for each region that has writing cards tucked under, I'm going to get 1 point per region. But if I had taken this one instead, I'm going to get 2 points per region with writing cards stuck under. Now, if it says one, you need one worker from anywhere. If you want to do a two, you need to pull two workers each from a separate region. If it's a three, you need to pull three workers each from separate regions. So, but you notice that the value increases as you go from left to right. Now, you don't need to place here first and then here. I could just start off going here, and Steph can come along behind and take the lesser one. So, the first person to build in a wall area, for example, these two will get this governor tile bonus and it will change the trigger of one of your cards. For example, if I've got this card and it says, anytime you take the hire an advisor action, you get -1 unrest, you can change that trigger. Hey, now it's anytime I take the worker or wall actions, I can remove one unrest. So those are sort of cool that way that it changes it not just to one thing, but to two different things. So that's always,
I didn't get one last time.
yeah,
I should have.
they're super nice.
Yeah.
So if you are the first to build in that area, then you are going to get one of those. There are only two of them up here, so it would be if you were the first and second to build on the section. Let me see here. Oh, if you're the first to build on a section, you have to take the top emperor tile, and you have to have tucked a card. If you haven't tucked a card yet, you can't just keep it and save it until you tuck a card. So you have to have played a unification action in order to get that emperor tile, and you can't trade out an emperor tile with an emperor tile.
Sure.
Um,
You want to play cards though. Like it helps build an engine.
absolutely. Now notice there are six different sections. So if you're the first to build in this section, then the first to build in this section, that's the only way to get both of these tiles. But you definitely want to be building on those. So, as I mentioned, after you do the court action, then activate all of the card abilities on your board, or move an official on your board, or just do nothing if you don't want to move anything around. Finally, once we've played all six of our cards, we're going to get unification rewards. Each round, whoever has contributed most to the unification in each of the three unification types are going to get some sort of bonus, and we're going to go from top to bottom. I'm going to say who has the most white tokens, and whoever has will get first dibs on this bonus. Let's say Steph had six and I had two. Steph would get first dibs at this. She could say, I don't think I want this. I'm going to wait until next round. So she gives me the option. If she had taken the option, she has to get rid of all six of her tokens. If I take the option, I only have to get rid of my two tokens. That's far better for me. Boom, I'm going to put an advisor in Chew as this says. So then we're going to go down to, and then I move my turn order token to here. And then we do currency. We see who has the most currency tokens. Oh, hey, it happens to be me. And I take up on that offer as well. I shift down to here. And then let's say that you do the last one, which is architects and chew, and you move your little guy right here. Now, at the end of this, we're going to move our turn order things in this order. Now, let's say Steph didn't get any of them and I got whatever I got. I will just, if Steph were in the number two spot, she moves up to one, everything shifts upward, then everyone here will all fall in behind from top to bottom. And then we're going to move the round marker just like that. So, in detail, get the unification rewards from top to bottom, then set the turn order. Then you can unlock terracotta soldiers. You can get more of these at the cost of 3 unification tokens per terracotta soldier. Then check to see that you are under the unification tokens limit. The most you can have is 5, not 5 of each type, 5 total. So Steph had 6 writing tokens. She'd have to give one of them up, and maybe more if you had other things. So finally, we move that into the round token, and that is that. We're going to do that 5 times. Now, what are these terracotta soldiers used for? Well, anytime that you meet these objectives, you will get to place one of your terracotta soldiers onto whatever you've qualified for. Oh, it's important to mention this. I cannot put a wall tile on both of these sections. I can have one of my wall tiles. I feel I needed to mention that considering there are 2 wall tiles for this teal area. I cannot put them both right here. I have to put them on separate wall areas, wall sections, I guess I should say. So let's say I've done that, I've placed here and here. I'm going to take one of my terracotta soldiers, put on the biggest reward. That's going to give me 7 points. Also, at the end of the game, if I've managed to put 3 across in that row, or 3 in a column, or both, I'm going to get 10 points every time I do that. And that's all, that part is all at the end of the game.
Not exactly easy to do, but
Not exactly easy, but
you
it's
should you
usually,
should you should try to.
absolutely, it's usually some combination of build palaces, install governors, or build wall sections. But there's also this mountain. That's what, if you have passed this mountain space, you qualify for the mountain bonus right there. At the end of the game, you're going to get however many VP you scored during the game. There's a cool little notepad here. So, number of points you have scored in the game, majorities for your governors in each region. You are going to get um, 50, 10 points in a 2 player game if you have the most, 15 points in a 3 player game, or 20 points in a 4 player game for each region where you have the most governors. In the case of a tie, you're going to split them up, rounded down. Then your alchemist cards and ship progression. Remember, you're going to get a certain number of points for how many alchemist cards you've played and how far your ship has moved. If you make it to the end, it's going to be 4 points per every alchemy card that you have installed. You're going to get your points for your terracotta soldiers in rows and columns, 10 points per row or column. You're also going to get your victory points for your wall sections, and for remaining terracotta soldiers, for whatever you have left up in this area here, you're going to get 2 points for a single, 5 points for a double, or 9 points for a set of 3. I believe that is it. There is a solo mode where you are playing against Lisa, the Prime Minister of the Emperor. And there is a heavily detailed appendix that talks about all of your card abilities and wall tiles and governor and palace tiles and starting tiles and unification boards. Um, the game seems super fantastic with how much variability is in this game. And spoiler alert, this seems likely to hit my top 10 of the month.
Yeah.
Just saying.
I would think so. I told him that when we went to play it. He's like, I don't know.
I'm not sure, but then I got through it and it's like, yeah, this is fantastic.
It is. It's a really great game, and it seems like they did a lot of great updates as well. So I'm excited to show it off right now. This was just the teach, so hopefully that helps clarify if you have any rules questions or if it's something you might want to play, because we are ready to dive in and explore it more.
Yep. Sounds great. So check out Zhanguo from Sorry We Are French. French. And hey, if you enjoyed this rules teach, come join us on twitch.tv/BoardGamerSteph every Wednesday and Sunday night at 5 p.m. Central, where we play no less than 3 games every single stream with full teach and playthroughs.
Yep.
So
that's what we do.
Come join us in the chat.
Yes. And for those on Twitch right now, we will be right back with our playthrough.
Hey, and check out the playthrough on the YouTube if
After
you're checking after the fact. Woo!